Hello and welcome. It's me, Paul Amadeus Lane, and I'm so delighted to have you on this very special report that we have for you today. Patience. When you hear that word, what comes to your mind? Maybe it's something that you need to have more of. Maybe there's something that you would hope that a family member would have towards you. Whatever the answer that comes to your mind, check out this trailer right here.
When was the last time you lost your patience? On the road? At work? Or at home? Our busy lives make it difficult for us to be patient. But to enjoy life, we need patience more than ever, even if it's being tested. But what does patience really mean? Does it mean we just passively wait for something to change? And how can patience affect our daily life? The 2023 Exercise Patience Convention of Jehovah's Witnesses will show you what true patience is, why we need it, and how it can improve our relationships with others. God wants you to be happy. And as our Creator, He knows that exercising patience is vital. For more information, go to jw.org.
That trailer shows what's going to be discussed at the 2023 Jehovah's Witnesses Regional Convention. And we all know over the last several years, we've been doing a lot of reports on this organization when it was a virtual convention, virtual preaching work. And we have done a lot of highlighting about some of the great things that this organization has done to keep one safe. But also, since things are opening up now, we're going to talk about the in-person regional convention. So please join me in welcoming my very special guest. I am so delighted to have with me right now my next two guests. They are the regional spokespersons for Jehovah's Witnesses. We have David Cohen and also Jean Beltran. Gentlemen, welcome. How are you both doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Doing good. Thank you, Paul.
So great to chat with both of you. I kind of talked about this before I brought you on about how we've been following what Jehovah's Witnesses were doing during the pandemic with the virtual conventions, the virtual preaching work, when in-person meetings came back, and the observance of the Lord's evening meal. So I thought I'd bring you both back on because we are going to start seeing something real soon here in California, especially here in Southern California, but in California in general, and that's the return of the regional conventions that many know about. And before we kind of talk about the regional convention and which ones are expected to learn at these conventions, David, if you don't mind, can you give us a history of Jehovah's Witnesses and conventions here in California?
Yeah, it's amazing. We actually go back over 100 years being here in Southern California having conventions. Back in 1909, the maybe 100 to 200 Jehovah's Witnesses that were here, they rented the Trinity Auditorium in Los Angeles, and it had about 1,000 seats. And so they advertised out, they invited ones from the neighborhood. And on the opening morning, they had standing room only. There was a line going out the door, down the block. So many came that they had to repeat that program the next day just to accommodate all that wanted to listen. Amazing. And from there, we continued to have conventions through the teens, all the way in the 20s and 30s intermittently. But really from the 40s on, it was almost a yearly event for all the local witnesses and anyone that wanted to join us. We had them there at Wrigley Field. We had them at the Rose Bowl. Then we moved into the Hollywood racetrack Dodger Stadium, one time at Anaheim Stadium. And then we started having them at the Long Beach Arena, along with the Toyota Arena, just to accommodate the many that wanted to attend.
Wow. So it's been a long history of conventions here in California. And Gene, what is your kind of fondest memories about the conventions being here in California? Because both you and David both have been part of the organization for many years. Something tells me you have some pretty memorable moments.
I do. Even before I was born, my parents would talk about how my mother was baptized in 1955 at Wrigley Field in Los Angeles. My father in 1956 at the old Municipal Auditorium in Long Beach. And I began going to conventions along with my siblings and with those I love dearly. And I have such fond memories of Dodger Stadium, Angel Stadium one year, and now at Long Beach for the past quarter century. And really, Jehovah's Witnesses, we're back with our live conventions. In fact, in Southern California, we have 51 conventions scheduled for this summer, just in Southern California alone, 11 languages, 5 venues. And we expect to have 161,000 or more attend our conventions. And that's very exciting. So for me, my history here at Long Beach in Southern California is very dear to me. I'm glad to be going back. I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Gene. And David, did you want to share any personal memories of the convention for you?
Well, as I look at my family, as we've grown up over the last 25 years, being married 30 years, just those memories that we have, that it's not just the event that we're there for in the camaraderie of seeing all the ones that locally, deep friendships that we have, but also just the time that we get to spend in those cities afterwards, maybe extending a vacation, getting to know the area, enjoying the different restaurants, the hotels. It's really extended part of our vacation and what we planned. So we really, really enjoyed it.
You know what, David, I heard through the grapevine that the witnesses are pretty good tippers. I've heard that from some of my colleagues that I work with when they hear about the witnesses coming to town. So just putting it out there. But David, when we and Gene, when we look at this year's regional convention, the title of it, and what will ones be able to expect during this regional convention?
Yeah, exercising patience. You see what an amazing theme that is. We see today, everyone is struggling a little bit with trying to maintain their patience. We see it in families, we see it at work, definitely when we're driving, and even when we go shopping, we see people are losing their patience more and more, and especially even ourselves, could be prone to that. And the problem with that is, we strain our relationships. We get stressed out. We get anxiety. And as we've seen in some of the news reports lately, if not checked, it can lead to tragedy.
That is so true. I can't tell you how many reports here at our station that we report of ones when it comes to patients being stretched thin. And we can see why the organization wanted to have that theme for the regional convention. And if we look at the convention is structured like it's always been, the 3 days. And let's take, for instance, on Friday, what are some of the things that ones are expected to learn?
Well, we have our scriptural theme for the day, which is love is patient. Now, what we're going to look is and see how can we attain our goals by exercising patience. And maybe one of the goals that we have is building friendships or finding more friends. It's been difficult in the days that we're living in with electronic devices to really connect with people and have deep relationships. Well, one of the talks in the first symposium is building friendships take time. And so that's going to highlight, what does it take for me to be a friend? What do I need to look in others to be good friends? And how can we build that? And then later in the afternoon, there's actually a crowd or attendee really highlight for everyone, especially the kids. We get to see what creation teaches us about God in a multi-part symposium, where we look at insects, we look at birds, we look at plants, we look at land animals, and even sea creatures up on the big screens, analyzing them, looking at their intricate, beautiful nature. But we look at it from the vantage point of, what does this teach us about our Creator? What personality traits can we see in our Creator that's now going to draw us closer to Him to be His friend?
That's one thing I noticed about the witnesses. They make sure that everyone in attendance learns something, even the children. So we really, really appreciate that. And Gene, what about on Saturday? What are ones going to learn about on Saturday?
Saturday's program is exciting. It's based on the Bible scripture, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 14. Be patient towards all. Sometimes it's easier for us to be patient with those who aren't close to us. Maybe we're a little less patient with our families. But on Saturday morning, we have a series of Bible discussions, which will talk about how we can be patient with our extended families, with our spouse, with our children, and with our elderly parents and other elderly ones. I have elderly parents. I still have them. I'm grateful. I have a 92-year-old uncle I help take care of. And it's trying at times to be patient with individuals who are in that stage of life. But, we have over 70 videos in our 3-day convention, and there's some great ones that morning on Saturday that help us look in the mirror and say, hey, I would do that, and that's not the best way to go. And we can look at the dramatizations that are going to be played out on Saturday morning through a blended family and the choices they make, the outcomes they get, and how exercising patience, following the theme of our convention, James 5:8, exercise patience, that they're able to get better outcomes, not have a perfect life, but have a better one because of showing patience. And then in the afternoon, we have the first part of our feature-length movie that talks about the value of showing patience in emergency situations. We know here in Southern California, we worry about tsunamis, about wildfires the last number of years, of course, about earthquakes, the big one that we keep hearing that will come. This movie helps us think about how we can prepare now for emergencies. And by using and developing the quality of patience before and during an emergency, we can be safer and we can be able to navigate our way through trouble. And I love that movie. It's very exciting. It's a cliffhanger.
So I take it you got a chance to see it already.
I was able to see it last week up in Northern California, but I'm looking forward to seeing it at Long Beach, June 2nd through 4th at the convention I'll be attending.
I was going to see if you was give us any spoilers, but I guess you won't. So, David, now on Sunday, what are some things that if we attend that we will learn about?
We want you to attend all 3 days, but Sunday we make really a concerted effort. We want the whole world to be there, to really enjoy the program, because it's going to answer kind of a universal question, I think, that we've all asked one another at some point or asked ourselves is, if God is love and God is all powerful, then why is He allowing all this suffering to take place? And we might even ask ourselves that same question, why am I suffering right now? And, well-meaning people may have answered that in a way that says, well, it's mystery. It's a mystery. It's mysterious how God works. He has His ways. And that may lead us to feel, well, then maybe I'm supposed to suffer. Well, the Bible has a more satisfying answer to that question. And that's going to be answered in the public talk. Will God act on your behalf? It's very exciting because that's really part of the theme that day on Isaiah, the 30th chapter, verse 18, where it states, Jehovah is waiting patiently to show you favor. And again, that's us personally, not in general, but us personally. So we look forward to that. Also, the conclusion of that wonderful family. We get to see what happens in the video. And we really do invite all 3 days, but if you can make it just one day, please be there on Sunday to get the answer to that question.
And Gene and David, one of the things that I've noticed looking at the program is when we go to conventions, whether if it's a convention on technology, automotive, you have different experts there that will give their opinion of certain things, trends out there. But one thing I noticed about looking at this program, there's scriptures by the theme. So am I safe to assume that the Bible is the authority when ones are speaking?
Paul, you're absolutely right. As Jehovah's Witnesses, we're a peace-loving Christian people. Our God is Jehovah, and the Bible is our basic textbook. And whether you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses or any other faith, or perhaps you don't have a faith, when you take the time to examine the Bible, it has practical information that can help us in our relationships and that can help us to make better decisions that we would make on our own. And the reason for that is the writer of the Bible, Jehovah God, knows humans best. He knows what is best in our best interests. And when we allow him to influence our decision-making, again, we have better relationships, better outcomes. And we think when people come to visit our conventions, say in Long Beach or Ontario, elsewhere here in Southern California, they're going to find that they're going to enjoy the program because it's going to help them improve the quality of their life. Bible being the basic textbook, who could go wrong with that? And with over 70 videos, it's a good way to learn about the Bible in a 21st century way, making the Bible more user-friendly than ever for you.
And when we... Oh, go ahead, David, please.
And really, the Bible isn't a puzzle that we need to unlock when we look at Bible principles. When you think about this with exercising patience, when we look at an impatient person, that person isn't happy. They're either angry, they're irritable. And so at some point, they've lost their patience, so they've lost their joy. They lost being happy. So we know if we practice our patience and we manifest it, then we're going to have joy and happiness. So it really comes down to some really simple things, just reminders that we need to get. But when we hear it from the scriptures, it's an authority we can trust and rely upon.
So true. So true. So how can ones attend the convention if they want to attend?
The best way to do so is by going to our website, jw.org, the most translated website in the world. Scroll on the homepage, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see conventions. All you need to do is just input your city, and it'll tell you which conventions are in your area and which times you'll have options. Or if you're walking about anywhere in Southern California, Los Angeles, Orange County, Inland Empire, San Diego, you'll see our carts, our display carts. We have hundreds of them 7 days a week. Walk up to the cart. You can just ask someone there if you can be helped. They'll tell you when a convention is. And we think that you'll enjoy the experience because when you go to a convention of Jehovah's Witnesses, what you're going to find is a safe, secure place with people who just want to improve their relationship with Jehovah God, with our Creator. So go to the website, and when you're at the website, you might find other things you enjoy. Give you an example. Last Friday, we had a very good article up on AI. What does the Bible say? Right now, we have a feature article that talks about hope. Keep hope alive. So it's topical. It follows a news cycle. And if you haven't had a chance to visit it, it's a free website. There's no charge. There's no advertising, no cookies. When you have a chance to take a look at it, we think you'll enjoy it.
Thank you, Gene. I really, really, really appreciate that. And you're right. My wife and I was in San Francisco a few weeks ago. It was Fisherman's Wharf. Every day we went there and had lunch, and we would see that card over there. And you're right. You're right. Any area you'll see the witnesses, and you'll be able to ask some questions about the convention as well. And gentlemen, anything else about the regional convention we didn't get a chance to chat about yet, or anything you'd like to make sure that we really let the audience know?
As we've mentioned, the convention is completely free. We're not going to charge you for admission. You're not going to be charged for parking. You're not going to be intimidated by a plate being asked for donations. But we do know that there is a cost, and that cost is people's time. But we invite you to come along with the many millions across the world that are going to enjoy this convention. They've counted the cost, and they've seen the value in the things that they're learning, especially in a theme like exercising patience.
Thank you so much, David. I appreciate that. And Gene?
I would just say Jehovah's Witnesses, we're regular people. What's important to us? Family, our children. If you go to a Jehovah's Witness convention, you're going to see very quickly that marriages, families, and children are very important to us, as is our worship of Jehovah God. So if you're there, it might help dispel maybe some of the misconceptions you may have about Jehovah's Witnesses that you've heard or maybe haven't had a chance to get to know us a little better. And I've been going to these conventions my entire life. When I walk in a convention of Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm not only happy, but my stress level drops. And we've heard those comments. In fact, I was up in Fremont, California over the past weekend. A young man came in, looked like he was a bit troubled in life. And we just engaged him and talked to him. And it was beautiful to see the muscles in his face, just the tension dropped. He was happy to be there. He seemed like he had some new friends, and he was there with his mother, who's one of Jehovah's Witnesses. He sat down and began to enjoy the program. I've seen that scene play out over and over in my lifetime at Jehovah's Witness conventions. So if you're apprehensive, that's normal. Come and visit us at Long Beach, June 2nd through 4th, or any other convention you find on the website. And we think that you'll enjoy the experience and get a chance to learn more about the Bible, learn more about patience. James 5:8, exercise patience. I need to work on that. I think I'm not alone in feeling that way.
Gene, you should see me when it comes to deadlines. I need to work on that too. So you and David, thank you so much. And remember, Gene, don't be giving no spoilers away with that movie, okay?
No spoilers for me, Paul.
well, gentlemen, thank you both so much. Really enjoyed chatting with you about the regional convention that's happening here all across California. And again, thank you all so much. I'm looking forward to chatting with you both soon again.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Paul.
Patience, patience, patience. We're talking about patience. We're talking about patience, yes. Patience is something that we all need, and myself included. And it was refreshing to hear something that can help us to have this patience. When we lack patience, we're not happy. I'm speaking from myself. So it was really good to hear what's going to be discussed at the regional convention for Jehovah's Witnesses here 2023 in California. And it was great to hear about the history of Jehovah's Witnesses and the regional conventions that they have had here in California. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, please stay healthy, stay safe, and remember, I love you all to life.